The point was to send a message, right? He was backdoored by the only people that he trusted, by his family. He was backdoored by the BDs themselves. Alright, so what's up, y'all? It's your girl, B. Octavia, and I'm outside today. If you do not know me, my name is B. Octavia. I am from Washington, D.C., and I'm also an entrepreneur. I will have an announcement coming soon about what merchandise I have coming out, so stay tuned for that. That will be in the next few days, if not next week. Now, in today's video, I want to talk about Robert Yummy Sandifer. Who the world calls Yummy. Robert Sandifer goes down in history as a very young member, a very, very young member of the Black Disciples, which is a notorious Chicago street gang. The BDs have a long list of charges linked to its members, and Yummy fell right in line, allegedly committing armed robberies, involving himself in shootings, all on the word of his gang. At age 10, Yummy was arrested on charges like arson and burglary. It's unclear when he started banging, but in my opinion, he became a top hitman for the BDs, standing as tall as 4'6" and less than 100 pounds. He got the job done and got caught a couple times, but this is very familiar to other stories that I've spoke about, other people that I've talked about, like Shorty Pop, right? Very, very young guys being sent out pretty much on dummy missions by the older guys. The older guys already got 2 strikes, so they're very careful with their own freedom, but sending little niggas half their age into a trap where you can't do nothing right seems better to them. It's no right move sending a juvenile out on a hit where it doesn't matter who the bullet penetrates. The point was to send a message, right? So let's get into this. As the story goes, Yummy was sent to a rival's area on August 28, 1994. He was ordered to do a favor for his gang. This favor set off a chain of events that fell on Yummy in the worst way. The favor was to go do a hit on a top-ranking rival member. And Yummy ended up hitting several people, including a 14-year-old girl. Now, allegedly, this little girl, this 14-year-old girl, can be linked to a high-ranking member of the rival gang. Chicago police quickly identified 11-year-old Yummy Sandifer as the sole gunman, but before the police could apprehend and arrest Yummy, he was backdoored by the only people that he trusted. He was backdoored by his family. He was backdoored by the BDs themselves. Before I give my breakdown, I want to speak on Yummy's childhood and development. I want to speak on his short life before crime and his overall childhood. Over here, we don't use a person's background as an excuse. We use it as a way to see and hear a person's journey through life and what led certain individuals to make the decisions that they made. How did the events after birth affect their mindset? How did it affect their mental? How did it affect their physical being and beyond? Yummy's mother was a prostitute in the Windy City, racking up 30 plus arrests relating to the grimy street life that she was a part of. In turn, Yummy and his siblings were living with their grandmother, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because his grandmother was both abusive, distant, and neglectful. Yummy was reportedly physically abused from the time that he was an infant. CPS finally stepped in and removed him and his siblings from his grandmother's home and shipped them to a shelter to live on Chicago's North Side. They were removed from their grandmother's home in 1993, And shortly after that, Yummy ran away, never to return to the shelter. From 1993 until his death, Yummy's living arrangements were unknown, and still people don't know where he was living at, who he was staying with. From the age of 8 till 10 was the start of Yummy taking control of his own demise. What I mean by that is Yummy already had a lot against him. He had a lot against him coming from folks who couldn't show love to him, but would show hate and be abusive towards him. Cigarette burns, bruises, enduring so much before putting himself through even more. Never knowing a sense of family and then getting some love and endearment from this gang. It doesn't matter what they told him or asked him to do, he would have did it all. To show the loyalty that you've always possessed to people who you feel like now deserve it, he would have did anything they asked, and 9 times out of 10, he did. He felt like his gang was worth it every time. But something I wish that he knew was just because they not burning you with cigarettes, or just because they not punching you and kicking you and treating you foul to your face, doesn't mean they love you. Some people would tolerate you just because they need you. They will tolerate your presence. They will make sure that you eat and all that just so they can in turn use you. Just because they are not physically beating you does not necessarily mean that they love you. I'm not saying what the gang felt towards Yummy was hate for them to do what they did, but what is a fact is they used this young boy to do what they were afraid to do. They used this young boy to do what they didn't want to get caught for. They used him until they didn't need him anymore. Used him until the one trick pony messed up. Messed up one good time. The murder of the 14-year-old girl that I told you guys about occurred on August 28, 1994. Just 4 days later, on September 1st, 1994, Yummy's little bullet-ridden body was found by police. After Miss Dean's murder, Yummy lay low for the most part, but he did want to get in contact with his family, so he appeared on a neighbor's porch, a neighbor of his grandmother's, and he was asking them if they could get in contact with his grandmother for him. He was approached by 2 teenagers, aged 16 and 14, who were both members of the Black Disciples themselves. The 2 teens were brothers, and all 3 of these young boys were very familiar with each other, probably did shit with each other, in the streets, I mean. And they told Yummy that they were going to take him to a safe location, but that wasn't the case at all. What Yummy didn't know was that his own gang, the Black Disciples, and the higher up members of this street gang decided on Yummy's fate shortly after he committed the shooting that took the life of a 14-year-old girl and injured a couple other people. They decided that Robert Yummy Sandifer should die out of their fear that their secrets would get out of their fear that Yummy would fold under pressure and become a police informant. And most importantly, they feared that if they did not handle the execution themselves, to execute Yummy themselves, that the BDs would want a all-out war, that their lack of cooperation would start a war between the Black Disciples and the Gangster Disciples. My view of it is we are 20 plus years later after Yummy Sandifer's murder, and what do we see? The BDs and the GDs of the world going at it and still at war to this day. What's different from then and now is they are polluting the music with a whole lot of gang shit, and it's spilling into the streets, whether it's from the music or not. Whoever made the call against Yummy should be ashamed of themselves, because what they feared was going to happen is already happened. and it's already occurring now. Killing Yummy didn't stop certain secrets from getting out either. And in today's time, without the guidance and without the advice or authority of high-ranking members, of an actual leader, the GDs or the BDs don't have that. So in my opinion, the way I'm viewing it is, now it's even worse. The bigger picture is, Don Dirk said it best. They shouldn't have been afraid to stand by this young man because he never gave them a reason to think that his character was flawed. He never gave them a reason to feel like he would ever be disloyal. He never gave them a reason to feel like his character would be flawed in the future or anything like that. He always did what he was told by the BDs. They shouldn't have been afraid to stand with him, and they shouldn't have been afraid to go to war with him, beside him, for him. Y'all should want to do that for every motherfucker that's involved with this gang. And if I was a part of it, and this the thing, you know, you gotta still be your own person. That's why I'm not here for those gangs and shit. Most of them spoil it for the ones that's actually thorough. Because if I was in this gang and I'm seeing that y'all deciding on taking whoever's life that's a part of our shit, right? All because, and he didn't do nothing wrong as far as what he was asked to do. He did exactly what y'all said, and y'all still have a problem? Me seeing that as a gang member, I wouldn't want to be a part of that shit no more, because it's nothing that I can do right. I'm already fucking up my life as a 8, 9, 10-year-old and so on and so forth, even before I hit puberty, even before I turn into a teenager, still a juvenile, causing mayhem, having this reputation with the police that is not going to get you nowhere positive. I fucked up my life, and I get fucked over by the people that I fucked my life over for. It makes no sense. I did say that the outpost situation, that was an original backdoor, but this for real, is the original backdoor, okay? I'ma scratch what I said and I'ma put Yummy Sandifer into that. It shouldn't have happened. I'm not sure, and I'm not saying that the longevity of his life would have been, you know, him making it to 25 or 30 or whatever or so forth. But it shouldn't have been his own gang to decide that, you know. I don't like when nobody play God. I think that a lot of times within a strong knit situation like a gang, you really do gotta see. You gotta wait and see how a person act. And then it depend on that if you surprised or not. You could have certain fears as far as, oh, I hope he don't tell. But why don't you wait and see exactly how loyal a person is? It does take for X, Y, and Z to be arrested. X, Y, and Z to be questioned on murder. You just gonna decide that a 11-year-old child, and he ain't really no child on the inside. Yummy Sandifer's story is important because this has happened after him. A lot of young men are walking around with that same spirit. Yummy was shot numerous times after being ordered to his knees. With fatal shots to his head, that was the end of Yummy, but that was not the end of the lessons that everybody can live by and learn from his story. Like I said, we're not supposed to use what we seen in our childhood and what we've been through in our childhood as an excuse of why we turned into bad people. I think that if you view it in a certain way, if you take what you've been through in a certain way, it can be motivation for you to not turn into the evil that you've seen. How to not become a person of self-destruction. Just like a lot of people use what they've been through as an excuse, you can use it to save your life and guide you in the right way. I know what it's like to come from a broken home, but I feel like I've used it in a way where I know what type of parent I want to be from what I've experienced and how I've been let down. I know what type of parent I want to be, and I know what type of person I want to be. You can decide, and you will have to decide, and it's going to be earlier than you expect. In the urban community, a lot of times you do have to choose exactly who you want to be at a young age. And coming from a broken home, some people, the hugest thing that they long for is to be a part of something. It's to be a part of something that they consider a family, something that they never had. But a lot of times in the urban community, you don't know that what you want is very toxic. What you want comes with a lot. What you want makes you do a lot and not get a lot back. Yummy probably didn't want much out of life, but to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel protected. And in turn, he gave his life for it. He was very young, so it is unfortunate that he probably didn't understand till his last breath and beyond the impact that he would have, the impact that he would leave. And I really don't think that he was old enough to really comprehend how his ways got him to the point where he was, to understand the art of karma, and also to understand loyalty. Because while he was very loyal to the people around him, unfortunately, he didn't know what self-love was. He didn't know what self-loyalty was. He was very, very invested in a gang that wasn't invested in him. He accepted the bare minimum while doing the extreme for those who didn't deserve it. And if you want to be honest and say that his parents failed him, his mother failed him, his grandmother failed him, he failed himself. And most importantly, the people that he viewed as family. He never really realized that just like his parents let him down and his parents wasn't loyal, his grandmother wasn't loyal and protecting him, this gang wasn't going to do it either. The reality of getting older and realizing certain shit about people is realizing that you will always be disappointed by the people that you invest the most time in. It happens like that back to back. God is going to show you every time. Hopefully within any universe that he's in, because I don't want to decide if he's in hell or heaven. That's not for me to say or not say, right? But my only hope is that people that's his age, younger, especially older, understand and take the lessons from Yummy, that you don't even have to go through what he went through. You don't have to be a part of a gang lifestyle to take lessons from a person that is or was a part of a gang lifestyle. Take the lessons that he was not able to grow and see, to grow and experience. Take those lessons. That's what you can do to honor somebody's legacy, even if it was bad. It's your girl, B. Octavia. I want to say rest in peace to Robert Yummy Sandifer. Rest in peace to his victim. And that's why I say, open your eyes and realize that victims have victims. So we on to a whole nother video. Within this one, let me know. Give me your feedback in the comments below. And I'll see y'all in my next one.